Hey, hey, Blue Table fans, and we are back looking at Grand Alliance Chaos. Some of you may want to start Age of Sigmar armies, and it's incredibly easy to do. The game is definitely surging ahead, as I predicted it would. It just takes a while for new things to get adopted. So we were looking at my first Age of Sigmar army, which is going to be the Rotbringers, which is basically Nurgle mortal warriors of chaos. And you know they used to be called chaos mortals. So anyway, I think that's right. Okay, so for the formation, you've got to have a Lord of Plagues. So this is a model that's been released for a while now. Looks like a 40 millimeter base on that guy. In fact, he'll be consistent with the Blight Kings, which is these guys. This is a relatively new kit and is extremely handsome. I mean, these guys, oh man. Well, and the formation calls for 20 of them, so I'm going to mix and match until, you know, I get 20 unique different guys. So you've got to have 20 of those and a Lord of Plagues and one other thing. I think it's just a Chaos Sorcerer. Let's see, Rotbringer's Sorcerer. So I actually don't know what that is right off the top of my head. Yeah, so anyway, so let's look at some of these command abilities, because you do have to have, or you have a general, and only one guy that has command abilities can actually use them, and that's your general. So you've got to pick those. So we looked at Morbid Decay, which gives basically like a 5-up feel no pain within 7 inches of this guy. But only the unit has to be 7 inches from the Harbinger of Decay. I don't know how you say that. Gutrot Spume is a great model. I'm actually going to use this as my leader. I'm going to use this as the Lord of Plagues. Plagues. You know, people always said I was saying that wrong, and I don't know. Is it plague? Plague? Are you supposed to say A in it? So the Lord of Plagues. And so I'm going to use this guy, and then this guy's just going to be relegated to be a regular Putrid Blight King. I don't know how I'm going to run it exactly. So anyway, okay, so Gutrot's, his ability is Towering Arrogance, which if he does 7 or more wounds, he heals up to full, which I have to say is pretty cool. But if you look at his stats and do the math, it's pretty out there that he's actually going to do that many wounds. And if he fails, he takes a wound. So not that awesome. But his ability of clutching pseudopods, which is if you beat your opponent in a dice off, you get to ensnare one of the model's weapons, melee weapons, and they can't use it. Let's see. Otherwise, his model's weapon is ensnared and it cannot make any attacks with it until the end of the phase. Oh, that's terrible. So they just have to wait till the end of the phase. So yeah, this guy, leave him at home. Great fig. Absolutely terrible if you ask me. But see, that's just it. An Age of Sigmar with no points, you can, everything is potentially good. You've just got to center the shot. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Yep. Okay, so Lord of Plagues ability is Grandfather's Gift. If this model is your general and uses this ability, pick a unit within 21. That unit gains the Nurgle's Rot ability until the end of phase. That is great. What does Nurgle's Rot do? In your hero phase, roll a die for each unit within 3 inches of any models with this ability. So he gives it to a whole unit that could potentially be, you know, within 3 inches of lots of different things, especially if they're in combat. On the roll of 6, that unit suffers D3 Mortal's Wounds. That's a good ability just to keep going the entire game. Festus Leechlord is just basically a wizard, and I'm not going to go into him yet. Rotbringer's Sorcerer. Putrid Blight Kings. Oh man, I love these guys. First off, they have 3 wounds each. They're on par with Stormcast Eternals. They have a 4-up save. So in Age of Sigmar, the 4-up save pretty much is as heavy as it gets. Very few things go up to even 3-up. But every wizard as far as I know, has the arcane shield, the mystic shield ability, and that increases the save by 1, which can really be very helpful. And so let's see, virulent discharge. In your hero phase, roll a dice for this unit and each other unit within 3 inches. On a 6, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds or heals D3 mortal wounds if it is a Nurgle unit. So that is, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, over the course of the game, all of that stuff is going to add up. And it gives this force, it gives the Rotbringers a very definite feel to them, that slowly they're just decaying everything around them. So I think they're going to play very, very Nurgle-y. And so if you get a 6 on the roll to hit, it does D6 wounds. Their attacks aren't that great. There's 3 attacks with just a damage 1, no rend. So it's really their other abilities that are going to slowly sort of take its toll on the enemy. So Demons of Nurgle. All right, let's keep going. So I'll do another video on how to determine damage potential. So you got your Demons of Nurgle, and I've read through these guys. I can't remember everything about them. But when you're looking at things, look for that synergy. Like, can they affect units? Is it going to be fun to play because you're going to have to maneuver around and get things like in the right place for a really nice effect? So Slaanesh is really downplayed. Supposedly the demon prince, or excuse me, the chaos god Slaanesh is missing in this world. He actually overate. Okay, Demons of Chaos. And these are just the generic demons. Yeah, and you've got Soul Grinders. Right near the end of times when they busted up Warhammer Fantasy, you started seeing some of this 40k stuff in here. And those are pretty cool. So, and demons can be summoned. I don't know how they're handling summoning, which is very powerful in the points value of the General's Handbook. Quite frankly, I think summoning is pretty incredible. Okay, so Bray Herds. God, look at this weird stuff, man. Ugh, so much cool art in here. So anyway, the Bray Herds are split into 2 parts. One is the Bray Herds, and the other is the War Herds, which is the Minotaurs, basically. And Bulgors, Doombull, oh my gosh, so a Gorgon. And again, you can just use this stuff. You can just get models that you think are cool and just use them. All right, so I'm going to finish this up. Really, the purpose of this book is just to sort of round up all the old figures of the old range and bring them into this new world. And I think GW did actually kind of miss an opportunity here to introduce a lot of texture to the game by creating more synergy. There's quite a bit. There's enough to make the game very interesting, but also to introduce things like in War Machine, like different types of elements, like resistant to lightning, or, you know, attacks have a fire type or have some kind of ongoing damage. But I don't know, maybe that's a little complicated. By the way, the Mutalith Vortex Beast is great and is a lot of fun because a lot of its random abilities, in fact, take a look at this. Aura of Mutation. In your hero phase, pick a unit within 15 inches. Then you roll the dice. So this is awesome. Troll Brains. For the rest of the battle, the controlling player must roll the dice at the start of each of their hero phases. On a roll of 1, target unit is completely forgotten where they are. So that's stupidity, basically. And because trolls were one of the units that were notorious for being stupid. Tide of Transmogrification does D3 mortal wounds. That's pretty good. Mortal wounds are basically just unsavable wounds. You just take them. Some things actually do get effectively invulnerable saves against that stuff, which is really nice. You gotta look out for that stuff. Look out for those universal abilities. 6, Spawn Change. Target unit suffers D6 mortal wounds. For each model that is slain, set up a Chaos Spawn. That is incredibly awesome and a lot of fun, and definitely worth taking that guy. I know I am. I bought a Cockatrice for some reason. I regret it already. That guy's not that good. But the model's cool. I've always really liked the model. Plus, I can use it for my D&D game. Giants are their own thing now. They're called Ale Guzzlers. And there's definitely a lot of model possibilities in here for using alternate models. So Thunderscorn are the Dragon Ogres. Dragon Ogors. Haha, awesome. And these models are so incredible. They're just so underplayed. And now it's like, again, with no points, you can just take whatever you want. It's kind of cool. I'm really hoping the points don't take over, but of course they will. The Skaven. So this is my second army that I'm doing. I'm going to do a Scryer army. So you got Thanquol and Bone Ripper. I don't know how Thanquol made it through 10,000 years of the Age of Myth. You know, that's kind of ridiculous if you ask me. But again, they're, you know, they probably didn't want to change the packaging. They wanted to bring, you know, all the old models in. For my Scryer army, what I'm going to do is, here, let's see. Well, they probably won't show it. So on the Storm Fiends, which are like, this thing, by the way, is like 8 inches tall. It's this huge model. So they have like these little rat creatures. They're like little diminutive fetal brain exposed rat creatures in like this little electronic contraption. And supposedly they control the larger creatures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off Thanquol here. And because I'm doing a Scryer sort of weird science Skaven army, and I'm going to put that brain creature just on his back, you know, or somewhere on him, so it looks cool. And that's going to be my wizard that's casting spells. So this guy's a little ridiculous. I would say that. Oh, it kind of veered off there. I would say that. I mean, this guy's almost unfair. It's got 13 wounds. That's not why. It's the warp fire projectors. Pick a unit within range. It's 8 inches. That unit suffers 2d6 mortal wounds. I mean, that's just, there's no saves. So I don't know. It's really cool, but you can just blow stuff up. And so here's all the vermin guys. Vermin lords. Okay, so you got Clan Verminous. So Vermin Lord, and then there's just all like this regular Skaven. So here's Clan Scryer. These guys make me happy. So it talks about, you know, how they're organized in the fantasy world. You don't have to, actually, yeah, you do. This is the basically army list things. But again, you don't have to use this. That's kind of the cool thing. And it's not like in 40K where it's like, well, you don't have to use it, but you really do because objective security is so important you can't leave home without it. So, is this right? Yeah, oh, here you go. So it gives the organizations just for Clan Scryer. And I love these. I'm doing what's called an, let's see, where is it? Arc Spark Voltic. In your hero phase, the Warlock Engineer of an Arc Spark Voltic engine coven can order a Warp Lightning Cannon within 13 inches to supercharge. So, and so basically it's a free shot. So let's take a look. What's in it? You get an Arch Warlock. So basically they took this old named character and made him a generic thing, which I love. I've never really been a fan of named characters. Everything about Age of Sigmar has just pleased me. The base change, the simplification of the rules, that you can just use cool models without having to be pigeonholed into certain force organizations. So yeah, maybe this world is, you know, wonderful. Okay, so anyway, again, he does the warp. Warp fires, just pick a unit, they suffer wounds. And he can do Warp Storm. Let's see, 3 visible units. Again, they suffer mortal wounds. So you need one of these, you need Warlock Engineers. And then the weapon teams are really cool. I plan on doing different conversions for these, like finding some alternate model for the Doom Flayers and stuff. But I have yet to get the complete inspiration for that. This is cool. This Warp Grinder weapon team actually is a, how am I centered? Let me just go in a little closer. There we go. You know, it'd be easier just to move the book. So what you do is you just pair this guy up with another unit, and they, in any movement phase, even the first, you just roll a dice on a 3-up, they just appear with their buddy unit. And there's no scatter, it's not like Deep Strike, you just put them right on there. And I got to tell you, that's pretty cool. Somebody at the Salt Lake Gladiator Games said that you could take 3 of these and 3 warp lightning cannons and just appear and kill basically anything that existed. So of course, you know, you just don't do that. So now, Scryer Acolytes, these are the old Poison Wind Globadiers, and for a long time they've been $10 each, and they're still in metal, and they're not that great a sculpt, so I'm really trying to figure out some way to, you know, just do this differently and use some different models. And basically, you know, the Poison Globes are pretty cool, but it's really close, meaning close range. They only go 9 inches. But in the group that I'm in, they require 3 units of 10 basic troops, and these are my basic troops for Scryer. So my army's going to have 30 of those guys, 3 of these guys, warp fire throwers. I'm looking for 6 of those. I'm looking for 6 of the Poison Wind Mortar. I'm going to have a couple of these just for fun. I'm basically just going to have a lot of stuff running around the board that does a lot of weird things that's dangerous to themselves and others. The Storm Fiends, what great figs. They just, they make me happy. They've got like 6 options. I'm magnetizing a couple per guy, and we're just going to get these painted up. And they also can show up by the Tunnelers rule, Grinder Fist Tunnelers. So I really like those guys, and they come with a lot of extra parts that I'm going to use for conversions on other things. So pretty stoked about that. Of course, a Warp Lightning Cannon. Now, for the army I'm building, I'm determined to get rid of all the wood. I'm only going to have things with metal. So even though this is a really cool figure, I'm going to use something different. I'm actually going to use the Orc mech guns from 40K, and I'm going to get rid of the vulcanized rubber tire wheels and give them metal wheels, and of course a Skaven crew. So if you have ideas for alternate models, I need Skaven with gas masks, so I don't know how to do it. The Doom wheels are pretty cool. I'll probably just take them as is, get rid of the banners, put on more metallic stuff, and I'm going to paint, even though they have wood planks here, if you paint them gray, I think it will fly with the theme of the army. And Warplock Jezzails. Again, these models are really expensive, like in money wise, but in the game they're pretty cool, and I really don't care for the models. They're really outdated. The Skaven look really scrawny, and so I'm trying to figure out a way to get around this. And my idea so far for this and the Acolytes is to simply create a decorative piece that supposedly is shooting all the shots, and then just have all the other Skaven just as crew around them. And, you know, make something interesting and converted and themed. So anyway, Clan Molder, obviously it's the Clan Rats and all the weird mutated guys, Hell Pit Abomination, Clan Pestilence. And I think that's it. That is the Grand Alliance Chaos. So I've given you an overview, hopefully, you know, shown you how to go through and look at the different little factions. But the other thing is, you also have to look at the book as a whole. Like, this is, you just take anything from that and just have it in there and use counts as. I mean, the modeling and the playing potential is huge for this game. I love it. I love everything about it, and I can't wait to get some games in. I've actually already started lining them up. So next up, I'm going to go through Grand Alliance Order. There's been a lot of changes here. There's some new stuff in here, and yeah, the Lizardmen are under order. And check this out. Guess who's buddies now? Wood Elves, Dark Elves, and High Elves all fall under order. In fact, the spirit of Tyrion and Malekith are kind of buddies now. Like, these heroes wake up as like fledgling gods in this new world. It's really pretty cool. They're moving the story forward, and there's definitely a lot to it, a lot to capture the imagination. Like Azirheim is really, really cool. And there you go. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in, and there's much more to come.